In this part, I will be explaining the part 1 of the story Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. In my last video, I told you that this story is divided into two parts. The first story given in this chapter is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. And the main protagonist of this story is Sahib, who is a rag picker who lives in Simapuri, situated at the outskirts of Delhi, belonging to a refugee family from Dhaka, Bangladesh. The opening story talks about the author's impression about the life of the unfortunate rag pickers, and here the author presents the extreme poverty of the rag pickers. As you read the lines, you can understand that this part of the story is written in first person, so we can understand the author is narrating her own experience over here. The story opens. I have given a subtitle, Author's Encounter with Sahib. The story opens with a conversation between Sahib and Jung. The story opens with a question asked by narrator casually to Sahib, "Why do you do this?" The author comes across Sahib every morning in her neighborhood scrounging for. The meaning of this scrounging for means looking for or searching for gold in the garbage heaps. Gold here does not exactly mean the metal gold. The writer says that Sahib searches for gold ironically over here, because although the garbage dumps are full of useless, thrown away things, still this rag picker boy, Sahib, suffers the garbage dump so minutely as if he will get something as precious as gold from it. Gold here refers to something very valuable, like some coins or rupee note or anything that is thrown away along with the waste materials that can be treated, or anything that can be traded for money, which is valuable for them, as it helps them to earn their livelihood, or other discarded things like shoes, bags, and other necessities of life, which they hope to find in the garbage and can use them. So, in every morning, Sahib with other rag picker boys search this garbage in order to find these discarded things which is valuable for them. She also comes to know Sahib's home was in the middle of the green fields of Dhaka. He does not remember anything about his home. It is not even a distant memory for him, as he had left it many years ago. He doesn't remember anything and could only relate to whatever he heard from his mother. As told by his mother, Sahib, his friends, and all other members of the family had left their homeland Dhaka long ago, when many storms had swept away or destroyed their homes and fields in Dhaka. Therefore, unemployment and utter poverty forced them to leave Dhaka and move to the big city Delhi, and they settled in a place called Simapuri, situated at the outskirts of Delhi, where Sahib and his family now lives. Now, why Sahib's parents leave Dhaka and migrate to India? They migrate from Dhaka and shifted to this big city looking for gold. Now, here the writer again says in the last line of the paragraph, looking for gold in the big city. Gold for the parents refers to food or shelter and other necessities of life, something useful and precious, and more importantly, some work that will help them to live, which they could not find in their hometown anymore, that is in Dhaka. They came to India to find a better life for themselves and their families, and to find some work as a means of survival. Their family is basically refugee, as they had to leave their country on account of a natural calamity, as storms washed away their fields and then eventually came to India. These people settled in a place called Simapuri, which is a slum area at the outskirts of Delhi. In that place, there are more than 10,000 rag pickers, and they have been living there for more than 30 years, which we will learn about as we move on with this story. So, Sahib family and other people migrated from Bangladesh in search of livelihood. So, they were looking for livelihood, they were looking for job to live a life. That is why it is referred to as gold. To the author's query on why Sahib digs the garbage and keep on searching something in the garbage, and the reason for doing this work of rag picking, and what the Sahib replied? I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Mutters mean to speak in a low voice. While looking away, Sahib replies in a low voice to the author that he has nothing else to do other than rag picking. Now we can sense no confidence in his voice. As you can notice, Sahib did not have the courage to look into the eyes of the narrator as he looked away while replying to the author. Maybe he doesn't realize what he was doing, or as he was directed by somebody else to do the job of rag picking, or was not sure of what he was saying. Maybe he was not happy. He has been given this bag of responsibility as one among the earning members in the family at a very tender age. So maybe he is not happy. That is why while replying to the author, he replies in a very low voice and without looking into the eyes of the author. After that, the author said, "Go to school." I say, I say glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice might sound. The narrator glibly advises. Glibly means speaking without thinking much, insincerely. So she, without thinking much, advises Sahib to go to school, but she immediately realized that this advice is without any value. Her advice is meaningless, hollow, for the poor boy, as seeing his impoverished condition, going to school seems to be a distant dream for him. They could hardly manage food to eat. So going to school is like a distant dream from them for them. Sahib replies that there is no school in the area where he lives. He also tells her that he will go to school when one build a school in his locality. By his reply, we can say that Sahib is interested to go to school. He is also interested to learn like other children. When the author light-heartedly, not in a serious manner, asks Sahib, if she started a school, will he come there? Now this was a very hollow kind of a picture to give the child, as Sahib believes it to be true, and is very happy about it, and he immediately say yes with a broad smile on his face. He was very enthusiastic as well as optimistic to go to school someday. Though his life was full of miseries, full of trials and tribulation of life, but this shows the intense desire of children like Sahib to learn, but they are deprived of the opportunity due to grinding poverty. Sahib also wanted to learn like other children, but due to his condition, due to his poverty, he couldn't do so. So the author is saying that if you go to school, if I built a school, will you go? So this kind of, so she was presenting a very hollow kind of picture in front of Sahib, which she cannot fulfill. The narrator raises Sahib's hope of going to school and receiving education like other children by promising to open a school in his neighborhood. She has shown these seeds of desire to lead a normal life. She had sown the seeds of desire in Sahib to lead a normal life like other children in the mind of Sahib. He start hoping. Sadly enough, after a few days, Sahib is seen running towards the narrator to ask if her school was ready or not. The narrator at this point feels very embarrassed, means feeling very ashamed. Why? Because she is feeling ashamed at making such a false promise, as she has no intention of opening her own school, and she just said it casually without giving much a thought to it, and said to Sahib. And she justified herself by saying that it takes a lot of time to build a school. The writer feels bad because she gave a hope to Sahib which she couldn't fulfill. She realizes that the hollow promises, like hers guaranteeing a life, were made to this deprived section all the time, but were never fulfilled. That's why she said, but promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. Abound means to exist in large number. Sahib was used to such kind of false promises as they existed in large numbers in his bleak and empty world. He was surrounded by such false promises, talks, assurance made by everyone around him. His world was empty as no promises made to Sahib was ever fulfilled. Now next come irony in Sahib's name and his existence. After months of knowing him, the author asks Sahib his full name. He announces and says his full name is Sahib-e-Alam. The meaning of his name is Lord of the Universe. Sahib, however, doesn't know the meaning of his name. The writer thought that it would be difficult for him to believe if he came to know that his name means the Lord of the Universe. The irony is that his name is in total contrast to his very existence. His name says he is the Lord of the Universe, but in reality, Sahib was a victim of poverty. He is leading a life completely buried in abject poverty, where he is helpless. He is a poor ragpicker boy, lives in Simapuri, a slum area, and he deprives of even the basic needs of life due to poverty and picking up discarded things thrown away in the garbage. He has no shoes to wear, proper clothes to wear, but he was named as Sahib-e-Alam, the Lord of the Universe. Unaware of the meaning of his name, Sahib wanders happily and walks aimlessly on streets barefoot, collecting garbage with his friends, which is a group of boys who are also rag pickers. They are all mostly barefoot. They do not have any footwear to wear. Some of them are wearing torn footwear, which they probably must have got from the garbage. This group of rag pickers are described by the author as an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at afternoon. Army of barefoot boys is a metaphor describing the largeness of the group, and like birds is a beautiful simile where the group of boys have been compared to the birds. As birds come out in the morning, flew around, go from place to place, searching something without any particular purpose or direction. Similarly, these barefoot boys come out early in the morning, go on hunting around these garbage dumps, and roam around aimlessly and go back to their huts in the afternoon. Just like the birds, the ragpicker boys are free spirited. They are free like birds and enjoy their freedom. They don't complain. They lead a very carefree life and do not have any particular aim in life like the birds. After many months, the writer recognizes each of them.